Episode 11. What race would you want to relive?
I'm sure, even by today's standards, $250,000 for a night out with the boys. Yeah, we shut down a bar and we had stretch limousines picking us up and dropping us off all night, and it was very Hollywood.
Welcome to the Two Mechanics podcast. Kenny Handkammer and Mark Grain have 18 Formula One World Championships between them, have been in the Guinness Book of World Records twice. They have over 30 years of motorsport stories between them, not to mention the 40,000 beers. Cheers. What you say?
So, Mark, what are we saying?
Well, Ken, what are we saying? Yeah, a little bit to talk about. I think there's cats amongst pigeons in F1 world, that's for sure. I don't know, what have you heard then about the latest thing on all of this? Compression ratio and hot testing, cold testing. I've not picked up too much on it other than what I'm reading, but I haven't really spoken to anybody about it.
No, I mean, from what I've seen with other podcasts and people talking about it, etc. Obviously, it's the hottest topic in F1 at the moment now. Are they going to make it a regulation that you can't do this or revert? There's talk of doing hot tests, and there's a lot of rumours that everybody has voted against Mercedes. And if that's true or not, I don't know. A lot of this is hearsay, obviously. But
does that include Keynes?
Yes.
I've Red Bull and Ford sided with Audi and Honda and the whole deal. Is that how it? Because for everybody listening, to be clear, this is an engine thing, right? So this is not a McLaren thing or a Aston Martin thing. This is the engine manufacturers working out between them how all this works. So what were you saying there, Ken? Because I've not got anything on.
Well, it's obviously it's a loophole that everybody's talking about. Higher compression, 18.1 instead of 16.1, and I think. I don't know if they can all of a sudden turn around and put something through the regulations for hot testing engines, etc. You know, things don't move particularly quickly when it comes to stuff like this. But everybody's going to be complaining about it. If all the Mercedes go out and have 1-2s straight away, everyone's going to be up in arms if they don't do anything now, or is it just? Stuff you. We found a loophole. You haven't. It's up to you to catch up, right?
Yeah. Well, again, people use this loophole term, right? For me, it's just a badly written regulation. That's the long and short of it. The regulation is written as such. So if you comply to that regulation, that is how the regulation is written. As far as I'm concerned,
F1 is just interpretation of rules.
Yeah, you're legal, though, aren't you? You know, if the regulation needs to have been written better, but okay, it is what it is. So, I think the thing is that's going to be 4 teams that are affected, and what does that mean? Does it mean all the lumps have got to go back and be reworked, or and have you got to? I don't know. Yeah, I mean,
is it a straightforward rework? You can't all of a sudden, I've got a whole batch of pistons here.
Exactly.
And they're all look what I found in the bottom drawer. Look,
they're all 3D printed these days, aren't they? I think, and that was part of the if you believe everything that you and I have been told off the record and is out there in the public domain. That's where the art of this has come in, is this 3D printing of these pistons and so on, and in this really smart way that they expand. It affects 4 teams, and getting this close to the first race of the season, if all of those engines have got to be reworked, then that's a task. And to your point, I think you were just about to make. It's not like there's been months, if not years, of dyno work going into all of this. You can't just magic up a whole new load of pistons and swap them out. I don't know where all this goes. Probably there'll be some sort of dispensation. I would suggest, but Crikey, I
Unless
don't
they
know.
had a B plan. Maybe they've got a swag of pistons that we don't know about, just in case if it all did kick off, and which obviously then would be a performance loss as well.
So what we are saying at the moment then is Red Bull, Ford, Honda, Audi, and who else have we got there? Ferrari. Sorry, yeah, Ferrari. How can I forget Ferrari?
Yeah.
They've all now said, because it needed that majority 4-1, didn't it, for it to take hold. That, I believe, was the threshold. And I think Red Bull, Ford were going to be the deciding engine manufacturer.
And there was a rumor that they tried it, but they couldn't get it to work, so that's why they've gone against it. Because there was a rumor that it was Ford and it was Mercedes that was doing it, and then I think they couldn't make it work. It's a rumor. Remember them? These are just rumors.
Yeah.
It's not that the truth get in the way of a good story.
Well, I'll tell you what. If Mercedes spotted this regulation and have made good use of it in its ambiguity, and if Ford at Milton Keynes with Red Bull have done the same but couldn't get it to work, absolutely, I'm sure the others must have had a look and not been able to make it work, because none of them are mugs. But where I'm going with that is that just shows the skills that's still in place at Brixworth, because having worked with those guys for many years, they're just very, very talented engineers, super smart, and incredibly thorough in their processes and everything. And a guy I mentioned previously, Andy Cowell, who isn't there now, he's at Aston Martin setup, but Andy was just this absolute relentless animal, just tiny details and so on. And of course, yeah, that's the same across all of Formula One, but Andy was just he was relentless in his pursuit of excellence.
Yeah,
and
they've always been
even though Andy's not there now, it's just embedded into that whole Brixworth setup. They are fantastic at what they do.
Yeah, which is basically Ilmore, isn't it? As we know.
Yeah, I mean Ilmore Mario's set up just across the road now, but of course that it all came out of Mario, but they're a separate entity now, just literally across the road from Mercedes-Benz engines, and then there's Ilmore, yeah, literally just the other side of the road there. So, but yeah, talented people.
Yeah.
The other thing.
Let's see how that unfolds, and where we go with that. I mean, with that conversation. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of ranting about it.
Yeah, and we'll stay tuned to that one, and any information that we get from inside a team or an engine manufacturer or anything, that we'll anonymize it and we'll let people know.
So here's the thing. Super Bowl.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, you probably it's not a big thing in the UK. I know it's growing. It was in Santa Clara, which is about a mile from my house. So Lewis Hamilton was in town. Obviously, we didn't bump into each other, and he's got his new Kardashian girlfrment.
Yeah.
He's got a new girlfriend, but no engineer. Maybe she's going to be doing some engineering tricks for him.
maybe she's the hot signing for Ferrari. Maybe that's it. Maybe she's just.
But isn't it strange that he hasn't got an engineer yet?
No, it is. It's very strange. There's a little bit of internet talk. There's this guy that was at McLaren for a while. I didn't work with him, so I don't know. He's good, bad, or indifferent, but McLaren don't tend to employ useless people. And he's left, and he's going to, apparently, and he was a performance engineer. So who knows? Maybe he's gone there and he's getting a step up. And honestly, I can't remember his name. I wish I could. But that's something.
Even though this is, when did this season finish? Right, there was always a question mark over the engineer. Wouldn't it be the first relationship you'd want to get on board and build with Lewis?
It's odd. It's very odd. You'd want to be there. You'd want to be there at the shakedown. You'd want to be there in the simulator with him. You'd want to be in the office with him, spending time with him. You'd want to be at Barcelona. You'd want to be at Bahrain. So all of that at the moment seems very strange, and it's not like we're getting, from people who are at Barcelona that I've spoken to. They've said that there wasn't anybody there that they thought was specifically Lewis's new engineer. So that it's all a bit odd, and it's just for me, it's time wasted. Unless, of course, there's something going on, and it's just under wraps at the moment. But I don't know. I think word would have gone.
Why would you hide it?
Yeah, I don't know.
You need to be advertising it, and you need to be, they need to be building a strong relationship together. And I think you know more than I do, but Lewis is quite a sensitive guy, isn't he? And it's something that he'd want to be in place, I'm sure.
Yeah, I remember his relationship with Andy Latham at McLaren. Andy was a very talented engineer, and Lewis could be really tough on him. And then obviously Lewis left McLaren, and he goes and builds up this relationship with Peter Bonington, and they win championships together. I'm sure if Andy was sitting with me now, he would admit that Lewis seemed to have a better working relationship with Bono than he did with Andy. Cards on the table, right? Phil Prue, who's I've mentioned previously, who's at Red Bull Ford now, and he's heading up that. He's very senior in the engine program. Phil used to engineer Lewis, and they had a pretty good relationship. And then as Phil got promoted, that's when Andy Latham took over at McLaren. So, he's like all the very best race car drivers, Kenny. They're just really tough on their engineers, and they want to get the best out of them, and so on. And I think Pete Bonington really rose to that, and could really communicate well with Lewis. And it's obviously not worked with Lewis at Ferrari with the engineers that he's had so far. So that's going to be absolutely key. Yeah, give him a fast car and all the rest of it. You still got to have that comms to the pit wall and that tight relationship, and that's proper lap time. That is, honestly, that's vital. Yeah. You'll win nothing if you don't have that. It just won't gel, and it won't in the middle of a race. It won't work. So it's they need to get cracked on.
But you need to get simulations of races together, and the communication between the pit wall, who's doing what, when, where, etc. I just think it's all a bit strange. I've never known anything quite like this before. It should have been straight after the season, right? Okay, this is who you've got. Start working together. Yeah.
The only other real strong message I'm getting at the moment is the new driving techniques. We did speak about it on our last podcast, and about how tiny mistakes in energy use, energy deployment, and energy harvesting could really have a big effect on where you might qualify and how you race. And by that I mean race wheel to wheel. And you might defend at the start of a lap and save energy, and so you got it at the end of the lap if you're racing against somebody. But
I hate all this stuff, to be honest. Why can't you just just race the bloody car, for God's sake? Just go. Racing should be what it says on the tin, flat out from the start to the end. But there you go. We've got what we got right now, and if it was us, we'd be sticking Cosworths in the back of them and going out again. But that's not going to happen, is it?
No. Talking of the past, I've got a question for you.
Oh yeah.
If you could wake up tomorrow and relive,
if I wake up tomorrow,
we'll assume you will. If you wake up tomorrow and you can relive one race, what's that race and why? And tell me all about it. What was so special about that one race that you want to relive it again tomorrow?
Well, this is a bit of an awkward question, really, because most the best races that I've done are city events, because there's obviously nightlife is better. There's a better atmosphere. Like a place like Montreal where they shut down the roads and they have parties and DJs and it has a completely different vibe to Spa, for instance. So,
which I can't abide Spa, by the way. But yeah, go on. Sorry, I interrupted.
I've got mixed. I've got a bit. Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. It's always pissing down and dull and in the middle of nowhere. But damn, that's tricky. I mean, I'm kind of torn because Adelaide was fantastic. Adelaide wasn't a little bit better than everything else. It was massively better. Just the people, the vibe, the race, the track was good. It was always a decent race there, and we had some appalling, wet races there as well as joyous fun ones. But I think it's that Argentina was exceptional as well.
Yeah. So what year? What specific race? Which one? Adelaide, do you reckon? Adelaide 93, 92? When? Which one stands out?
Well, sadly, it would
race would you like to go at again? The result, the whole thing, the pit stops. So which one would you like to relive again?
It's got to be Adelaide 94 because
there we go.
It was first championship for us.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
A very controversial year, and winning a championship. I mean, it was a tight pit stop. I remember both Hill and Schumacher coming in together, and we've generally been quicker than Williams at pit stops anyway. But they done a particularly quick one this time, and basically went out together. And that was, we know what happened. A few laps afterwards, but that was such a relief when we beat them out the pits and Michael went out and he was still leading and we didn't fuck it up in the pits, because you can imagine how we would have felt. And I think the other thing is people forget that Michael only did 12 out of 16 races, and we don't need to get into cheating, this, that, whatever. Okay. We know we want to do a whole program on 1994. So yeah, we can stick to that one race. Yeah, no, and we won a championship. So the relief of doing that was unbelievable. The memory you get of winning your first world championship is momentous. I mean, it's absolutely staggering. And I actually do remember the party afterwards. So I didn't get that badly out of shape. But yeah, it was just tremendous. And Adelaide is just such a nice place. Bars, restaurants, there's nothing to not like about Adelaide, and it's a real shame that that ended going to Melbourne. But Melbourne do put on a great race too. So yeah, I think it'd have to be that.
So 1994, you've won the first world championship with Michael's first world championship. You're in Adelaide, which I think we all of us of a certain generation appreciate that Adelaide was a great town. It was the last race of the season. So you popped out that night for a couple of sherry.
Yeah, I did have a couple of sherries, and I think it was $250,000 the bill. Going back in '94, that was a fair lump of cash. I'm sure even by today's standards, $250,000 for a night out with the boys. We shut down a bar and we had stretch limousines picking us up and dropping us off all night, and it was very Hollywood, and I think it was just a massive vibe. I mean, you get no idea what that feels. Well, you do have an idea what it feels like, but for someone that hasn't got to that level before and being that close with one point of the last race, I remember being in the bar the night before with our team principal at the time, and I'm saying, look, John, I've got to go. We've got a big day tomorrow. And he said, look, you can have one more drink or I'm going to sack you. That was in the Grand in Adelaide, and that was probably way beyond all of our bedtimes at that stage. But it goes to show you things were a little bit different back then. Being there with Steve Matchett drinking brandies the night before the race probably sounds a little bit not very PC, but F1 was a different world back then, and a lot more fun, I have to say. And then we also had the great event of going to Port Douglas, which was our annual boys' holiday at the end of the year, and we'd go up and to stay at Sheraton Mirage in a villa with Oz and Jonathan Wheatley and Dave Redding, Otis, and Bob Bushell sometimes, and a whole bunch of us used to go up there, rent out a villa, have a couple of weeks there. Apparently we had some excess cash from somebody was selling our shirts off our back for us.
No.
Yeah, so we had a bit of surplus. I think we paid the hotel bill was $12,000, and we paid it all in cash.
Yeah, well, I mean, and as you and I both know, and I think some people who tune in and listen to us, it was definitely not allowed to sell your team kit after the last race. Nobody ever did that. Because that would have been against company regulations, Ken, wouldn't it?
It would have been, yes. I remember. I remember Joan Villadel Pratt and Gordon Message coming back to the hotel and seeing Bob Bushell leaving the hotel with his team kit bag behind him on like a Friday night, and he's trying to stop. Joan's trying to get out to run after him, and Gordon Message locked him in the car, who is actually our team manager, to stop him from selling his kit. So it was like, mate, everybody's doing it. So it was just one of those things that went on back then. So, but what about you, Mark? What's your favourite?
The race I'd relive. So there's the Le Mans 24 hours in 1995. Well, would I want to relive that one again? It goes on for 24 hours, doesn't it? It's it's fantastic, but so I'll park that one. Then Lewis's championship in 2008 in Brazil, Sao Paulo, fantastic city and proper old. I don't hate the term old school, but it is a proper old motor racing circuit and a great place, an iconic win, finishing fifth and all of that stuff that everybody knows, I guess. So I'm going to go for a bit of an unusual one. In 1998, I was number one mechanic for Nick Heidfeld in the McLaren Formula 3000 team, and we were building a bit of momentum at the start of the season, and we went to Monaco, and it was the first time that Formula 3000 had raced at Monaco, and with a support race for the Grand Prix there. And we went in practice, and we were nowhere. We were just so far off the pace, and I was all blimey. And then in between sessions, we changed bars and springs and ride height and camber, everything. And we went out and qualified, and we qualified on the front row. And it's great when you have a frantic, in between sessions, getting the car ready. We did all that. We got it out, qualified on the front row, and then off we set in the race. And we were in P2, and how difficult it is to pass around Monaco. But the driver who was leading, a fellow called Jason Watt, who sadly had an accident, I think in a road car, and it's left him paralysed. He's in a wheelchair. But then Jason was a very fast racing driver, and he was out in the lead, and Nick was right behind him. Nick hounding him and forced him into a mistake at the Casino Square. Nick nipped by, and we won. And it's the first race win for McLaren in Formula 3000. So that was a bit of a milestone. It was the first ever 3000 race at Monaco, and we won it. And we were a small team, a tiny team, and we're Formula One teams in those days were small, but we had like 2 mechanics per car and a truckie doing tyres, and a gopher and a team of 4 engineers, and the team boss David Brown, who I worked for and worked with at Williams. He was ex race car engineer there. David, good guy. So and then of course we've just won at Monaco. Right. I mean, going back to your point, these city races are fantastic, and I got it in mind that I think I might have popped out for a shandy that night or something like that.
Would it be Roses you'd have gone to?
No, Roses had closed down by then. It was Tip Top, actually. I'm a bit of a traditionalist, and And so we went as a team. We went to the Tip Top bar, and for people listening, that's the Tip Top is on the hill down after Casino Square as you're going down, and then it's Mirabeau, isn't it? Which is the right hander into the before the hairpin. So the Tip Top is down the hill after Casino Square on the left hand side, and it's where drivers from the 60s, when they won, they wander down there and take the trophy down there and pour beer into it and all that sort of stuff. So that's where we ended up going. Gordon Murray came in, and a lot of us had, before the 3000 team, had been working for Gordon, and Gordon came and congratulated us. And then Ron pulled up outside, got out with Norbert Hauer, and they came in, and they all had a beer with us. So that was pretty special night. It went on way past when Gordon, Ron, and Norbert had left. I think Eddie Jordan actually. Eddie Jordan was riding around with Ron, and Eddie came and said congratulations as well. So, it's not necessarily the biggest race if you think about World Championship wins or Le Mans 24-hour wins, but that one, I'd love to live that one again. That was special. That was
fantastic. Well done. What we've got coming up next week then, Mark? We've got some testing this week, haven't we, in Bahrain?
Bahrain's coming up, so we will do our best. Everybody listening, we're going to do our best to get an inside stories for you there and let you know what's going on. And we tick ever closer to the start of the Formula One season. But IndyCar's now been they're back up and running, and Mick Schumacher has been out and testing. So I'm trying to find out a little bit more about how Mick got on as well. With he's at Rahals, so that'll be interesting to track Mick's switch from European racing or an international racing in Formula One and so on, and going over to IndyCar, because it's a tough ask. There's not many who can just go straight over and be successful. So that's going to be a big challenge for Mick. So I think we should keep an eye on that, Kenny.
Yeah, oval racing is an art in itself, isn't it? So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, exactly. So, we're getting closer and closer to start a lot of different motor racing championships and seasons starting. So there's going to be plenty to talk about, and of course, we want to get guests on. We've got a guest list, and we've spoken to a lot of people now, and really pleased to say that so many people say they love the podcast, and they love to come on as a guest. So and that's with people with huge amount of experience, and current people currently in Formula One, people who are previously in Formula One, people in IndyCar, so on. So a lot of experience and a lot of stories hopefully coming up.
Yeah, look forward to it. Well, thank you everybody for listening. Please leave any questions or comments or likes or dislikes even. So
again, thanks again for listening. We're available wherever you get your podcasts, and as Kenny said, please give us that feedback, or you got any questions, and we'll look at them, and we'll make every effort to try and get you proper, serious inside answers to what's going on.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, see you again. Bye bye. Thank you.